Hi foodie friends, welcome to the Drawn Hungry YouTube channel. Today we're switching things up a little bit. We are going to be doing a pitch to plate challenge. What that means is normally we have our Drawn Hungry dinner party episodes. We play a nice game of Drawn Hungry here, which I created. We use the cards to inspire a meal that we would serve for various special occasions. Lots of delicious ideas come out of that. Today, we are going to be taking one of those ideas from a previous episode and making it a reality. With that, let's go ahead, grab my tablet, and find out what we will be creating today. All right, so I really wanted to challenge myself to create something that was a little wackier this time. This episode features Jeff Latham from Nikki USA and Katy Osuna. It's called Someone Forgot the Secret Ingredient, Culinary Chaos Ensues. It's a fun watch. I definitely recommend going and watching this episode. We filmed in a really cool space, sort of this witchy shop on Williams here in Portland called Blackthorn Mercantile. It's perfect for what I want to do today. I'm not going to even try to describe this to you. Let's just dive in and see what Katy has in store for us.
So with this video, pasta marinara.
Okay, so our special occasion is potluck. Secret ingredient is spaghetti noodles. Let's see where this goes. We're starting out with spaghetti noodles.
Together or layered? It's layered. Oh, it's layered. The bechamel's on top of the baked.
It's layered. We got caramelized onion, zucchini, eggplant, bechamel, spaghetti with marinara. It's going to be quite a lasagna.
Okay. Pretty cool. So.
Okay, I pitched this to a friend last night and he came up with a really good idea. We're gonna call it Spagana. Are you ready to join me in recreating this Spagana? Let's go. For this Spagana recipe, my approach was to divide up all the different components because Katy did that in her presentation. Zucchini and eggplant, the spaghetti with the marinara. I decided that I wanted to make the marinara from scratch. We also had the bechamel. I chose the Joy of Cooking to source my marinara recipe from because I looked through a whole bunch of my cookbooks and Joy of Cooking was the only one that had a marinara recipe. So my first order of business was to chop up the zucchini and eggplant. Mostly I wanted to salt the eggplant and draw out the moisture. I really can't stand eggplant when it has that spongy texture, and salting it and letting it sit on a paper towel is the best thing you can do. Oh, and the caramelized onions. That was a whole nother component. We always have red onions in the house, so that's just what I used. Prepped a whole bunch of garlic. I love garlic. The recipe called for me to do a boiling water bath for the Roma tomatoes. It sort of cooks the outside skin and it'll start to sort of split, so then that way you can peel the skin off of the tomatoes. Then I decided to go ahead and get my onions caramelizing while I also cooked the marinara because I figured those onions are going to take at least 45 minutes. I added in all that parsley and garlic in with the tomatoes, lots of olive oil, got it just simmering away. Once it was starting to break down, I added in the chili flakes, continuing to stir those onions every now and then. I took the marinara off the stove once it started looking just cooked down. It didn't seem like there were big solid chunks of tomato anymore. The onions weren't ready, so I just went straight to work on my bechamel. I used this hack that my grandma Chris taught me where you sort of knead flour into your butter to start your roux. So I just pop that into my saucepan and let it heat up. I was always taught that you want to cook your flour until it's a nice golden brown before you start adding in your liquids for a roux. It just gives it that nice toasty flavor. I also added in Parmesan cheese for my salty element. I just figured it's a lasagna, we need some cheese in here, and I thought that that would be tasty. Very much in the spirit of what Katy was pitching. So once the bechamel was done, the onions were done, I went ahead and popped my spaghetti into the boiling water, let that cook al dente, you know. Then we got it in with the marinara. I added in a scoop or two of some pasta water just to thin it out because it had sat there for a minute. The extra pasta water makes sure that the marinara sticks to the noodles and then also just thinned it out a little bit. All my elements are ready. Are you ready to assemble this spagana? It's always so fun putting together a lasagna. I started out by just doing some butter on the bottom of my pan, try to make sure that things didn't stick too much. Doing the zucchini and then a layer of the eggplant. Then I went ahead and just plopped in some of those noodles. Then we did the caramelized onions and started the process over again. Zucchini, eggplant, noodles, caramelized onions. Katy had said that she wanted it topped with the bechamel. I did what the lady said and then went ahead and just topped it off with some more Parmesan. It went into the oven. I want to say we did about 350 degrees for an hour. Looking at it now, I realized that my oven is probably not level and it came out a little lopsided. I tried to get a piece out while it was still hot and I recommend not doing that. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's talk through it. Let's get that taste test. Okay, folks, spaghetti lasagna. It's here. When I first got it out of the pan, like right away after cooking it, it sort of like immediately fell apart. But this piece I have here was left in the tray and it kind of set up and you know, everything sort of congealed together a little bit and I was able to get a nice little square out of the pan. So this was a ton of work, I think for a couple of reasons. One, I made the marinara from scratch. Peeling the tomatoes, you know, was a process. It took some time. Cooking it down took some time. I think that that step could definitely be simplified by just using some store-bought marinara. I wanted to be a little extra. I wanted to try it from scratch and see it all come together. I also probably could have used a little bit more zucchini, a little bit more eggplant, just to fill out those layers. You can like see distinct layers from the side of it. So I do feel like that part was successful. Also, my bechamel, like especially as it cooled while I waited for the spaghetti to finish cooking and the onions to finish caramelizing, turned out just a little bit thicker than I had anticipated. I probably could have used a little bit more cream. I could have waited, timed it out a bit better so that way it was like nice and fresh when I poured it on top, but c'est la vie. Ultimately, you know, when you think spaghetti lasagna, something doesn't sound right. It sounds like it shouldn't work. But all these different components are great. So I don't see why layered all together in a pan and cooked at 350 for 45 minutes, why it wouldn't work. So let's go ahead and take a bite. Get a little bit of everything in there. It's kind of delicious. Spagana kind of slaps. I'm gonna be real. Like, the zucchini and the eggplant are perfectly cooked. You get the cooked spaghetti texture, but you also get sort of like the crisp baked spaghetti texture in there. The Parmesan bechamel is a salty umami dream. The caramelized onions, just like everything's improved with a little bit of caramelized onions, right? I might make spagana again. It's so silly, but seriously delicious, you know? I was truly ready for sort of like a disaster to occur, but none did. It's nice. Thank you, Katy, for coming up with this delicious combination of things that I never knew needed to be combined. I hope you go back, watch that episode with Katy. It is Someone Forgot the Secret Ingredient, Culinary Chaos Ensues. Go and give that a watch. Watch our other Drawn Hungry dinner party videos. I hope you go ahead and get yourself a game of Drawn Hungry if you are intrigued. It is available on drawnhungry.com, at Uncommon Goods, and at retailers across the Portland Metro at this time. Hopefully many more across the country here soon. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day. And until next time, bon appetit.
Action, cut.